to the show, and always welcome Adam, and thanks Caress. She's out there somewhere in producer mode. We can see her, but no one else can see her. But pretty cool. Actually, she's not even showing up on our screen yet. Maybe she'll pop in later on and keep us on task. Uh, Before we get going, I just want to call a couple of our sponsors. We always do this every week. Is Jay Williams? I think you invited me on a truck ride to do the podcast in the future. So we got to figure out how we do that from Minnesota to Atlanta. But always thanks to our sponsor, Freebird, and then Adam Smith with Alias Advising. Thanks for the sponsorship. And then Alicia Vargo, thanks for sponsoring us from Bev Assets. And thanks for everyone joining us on this Saturday morning. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Adam and Steve, because I'm going to be the fanboy today and doing a lot of listening. And we're really excited to talk about, I guess, margins and death is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm sure we'll get to the context behind the title of the book that's right behind Steve this morning. So welcome.
Thank you.
So I'll give a quick preface. I promise I'll make this short. So Steve and I met essentially because I was kind of talking shit on LinkedIn, in the way I like to do it, about just the difficulty of finding co-packing solutions or solutions in general that are of a price that is, I'll call it margin positive when you are in the early days of being a brand. And Steve commented and said, fair, but
we are live on Substack, just to let you know. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I love it.
We are live on Substack. You're the first, Steve.
Right?
Sorry. This is how we roll, by the way.
That's good. That's good.
Fantastic. That's really cool. So essentially, Steve commented and said, hey, you're not wrong, but I think there's probably some stuff that I've been doing this a little bit longer, and maybe I could offer some insights, and was kind enough to do so, and shared with me a copy of his book, which I can't recommend enough. If you need a link, we'll share it as part of the show here. But with that, Steve, I'll let you give some background on who you are and your book and anything else you want to let folks know about.
Sure. So yeah, I'm Steve Donchney. I've been kind of doing CPG in a different type of path for about 30 years. I started with Soft Body Armor, making bulletproof vests for all of North America. Different type of consumer packaged good, but it's still the same concepts. And then I spent 7 years in cannabis space up here in Canada. Canada was one of the first countries to legalize it. I worked for and helped build out Canopy Growth, which when I left was over 1.5 million square feet of cannabis, 64 grow rooms. Helped 6-7 different cannabis companies get to either profitability or sell out, and then moved into beverage and started The Forge. The Forge is a consulting group that helps people like Adam and brands get to where they need to be profitable. During this time, I've actually written several books. The first one's been published, Margins or Death, and it is basically for a brand startup learning, everything from co-mans to shipping to COGS, and understanding what your true COGS are. Because a lot of people don't understand, they take the ingredients, they take the can, they take the co-man and say, hey, that's my cost. But there's a lot more that goes on top of that. And so we wrote that book. We have 2 others coming out soon. The second one's Pitch or Perish, which is about going to retail and going to investors. Book 3 is Launch or Die, all about how you should be building your product. And then the other book I'm writing right now is called Surrounded by Beautiful Ideas, Quietly Dying. And it's more of a business book, and how
I took a
people are.
philosophy class in college called Death and Dying, so I feel like I'm talking in my class.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of the guys, one of the consultants I admire. He's with the Scaling Up with Vern and the boys, in that mythology. He read the book and said it's like having a 50-year-old veteran grabbing you by the shoulders, saying, "What are you doing?" And every book out there, we live in a society where everybody celebrates the launch. Hey, I'm going to quit my job and start a new product, and Instagram and LinkedIn blows up and says, good for you, we support you, we'll buy it. And then 6 months later, you got a LinkedIn account or an Instagram account that doesn't have any more posts, and it's just gone quietly. They just quietly died. And most times it's because the math is wrong. So let's fix the math. You can't outwork broken math. and that's where we're at, and that's how the forge is designed, and that's how, you know, I'm vice president of operations for a company called Gingerbug, an organic ginger beer in Canada that's exploding across Canada with plans to go into the States in the
Oh,
spring.
Robert's on the line. Robert's going to have some things to say about that. So, Robert,
Yeah.
welcome.
I know Robert well. Yeah, I was
Hey,
with Robert
there.
this week. So
So
There,
Steve,
there you go. He's like a best T-shirt ever, formerly known as Squaw Valley Ski or Die. So, anyway,
So,
it must
Steve,
be an inside joke between you and Robert.
I want to get really granular for 1 second, and then I
Sure.
promise I'll step out. But again, for anybody listening, highly recommend the book. It was a super easy read. It was, and by easy, what I mean is it was detailed and informative, but it wasn't, you know, like reading a textbook, right?
even
So-
though there's a quiz at the back.
literally, right? But you know, I mean, and we've all done it, or you know, we haven't, probably should. You know, we've all read the operating manuals for, you know, the pasteurizer or the can seamer and gone, oh my god, I need a fucking nap. But on you know where I'm going with this. So page 26, you've got your formula there, right? And I'll leave it to folks to find page 26 on their own. But my question is, the point of the formula is, hey, you've got to work out these numbers to get to, you know, truly the result of that formula is going to tell you, are you in a healthy margin spot or are you not, really, right? And the way you phrased it, if I get the number right, was if you're not at 2.5, like if the result of that formula isn't 2.5 or greater, or you're not moving toward that, you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
How did you get to that 2.5 number, and why is that the benchmark?
2.5 greater of what though? Just can you give some context
So,
behind that?
so
Yeah.
what we've designed on our website, we actually have tools for people to use, and some of them are to create your TrueLand cogs, because a lot of people think, oh, here's my recipe, here's my can, here's my co-man, here's my tray, my cost is $1. But that's not including pick and pack, it's not including shipping, it's not including trade spend, promo spend, all that. So the formula actually adds up everything and says, hey, look, you're actually spending $1.26 a can. We had somebody right now who said, you know, oh, it's like 40 cents a can, and I'm selling it for 65 cents. Like I'm like, no, you're actually paying 72 cents for this. Like when it's all landed, right? So what we've done is taken the margin multiplier. The margin multiplier basically takes everything together and creates, instead of just a margin, it factors it down to a number between 1 and 5. 1 and 2 basically means you're drowning, your numbers, you've got broken math, and you're failing. 2.5 is the multiplier that divides your margins by your sales numbers and figures out where you are. Margins are complicated for people. So what we try to do is say 1 to 5, where does your land? So you fill out the calculator. If you come in at 4, you're golden. Scale, go. But if you're at 2.5, you got to change something. And that's what the tools are all about. It's very simple. This website doesn't save anything. It's all free. Like it's all cleared up.
So I hate to put
Punch
you
in
on the
everything.
spot. Is there a way
Yeah.
we can do like a whiteboard or share a screen and show how to do the math? If you
Well,
can't, you can't. But I'm just.
I'll tell you what. I'll
me,
share
I'm
the
very,
screen.
I'm very visual.
I'll share the screen with you, and I'll show you how it works.
Okay. Perfect.
But to go through it, it's a lot to it, because you've got to go through, you know, what each person is, different numbers and different. Okay, just like share. This is new to me. Oh, share right there. This should be easy. Share my screen. And I want to do the margin multiplier and share.
Oh, I love it.
Okay,
Look at
so
that.
now you should be able to see the margin multiplier. So basically
Okay.
what happens with margin multiplier, it walks you through how many total units were in your production, what's your net selling price, what is your true COGS, and if you go up here, you'll see you've got a COGS calculator up here, you've got a recipe COGS calculator.
Wow.
You can actually go through here and figure out everything that is asking for. What are you expecting for trade spends? And then there's little details on each one to kind of say, for the people that, you know, are new to this, this is what we're asking here. What are you spending on promos, discounts, deductions? What's your total freight, your total brokerage, warehouse fees, spoilage, because people don't even count spoilage ever, and there's always spoilage. Total retailer fees, total marketing spend, and total payment. When you calculate it, it comes up and gives you a number between 1 and 5. And basically
Wow.
says, If you're at 1 to 4.9, you're bleeding out, you're done. Right now, stop everything and fix this.
This really
1.5
concerns me because I think a lot of people are bleeding out right now.
Agreed, and honestly, like one of the first lines in the book says, if you're looking for someone to pat you in the back and say you can do this, go to counseling, go get a cheerleader. This book is not for that. This book is to tear it down and say, this is how you got to fix this. Otherwise, you're not going to be here in 6, 12, 18 months. You know, the founder at the two founders for Ginger Book, Bren is the owner, and he read it first, and he read it, and he's like, yeah, I get this. Megan is the other founder, his wife, and she's like the voice behind it. She's been on Dragon's Den, which is like Shark Tank. She's looked at it, and she's the eternal optimist, and she's read it going, Steve, she literally told me on Monday, Steve, if I had read your book 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have started Ginger Book. And that's kind of like where it is. It's not built to say you're a failure or you're going to
Well, it's
fail.
a bit of a journey, right? Maybe you're going to lose money. Maybe you're going to be a 1 or 2 for several years before you get to the 3 and the 4 and the 5, right?
Exactly. It literally is here to say, look it, get your numbers. You can't outwork broken math. Okay, the newest book that we're writing right now, we really get into, and I just did a newsletter this week on the gasoline effect. And the gasoline effect is simple. When you're driving on the highway has been engineered for you to drive at certain speeds. The corners are curved on a same radius. So if you can lock in your steering wheel and find the apex of the curve, you can accelerate as much as you want. NASCAR does this all the time. They talk about speed is gained in the corners, not in the straight stretches. Gasoline effect in business, same thing. If your math is wrong and you're making money or losing money, the more hustle, because that's all we hear right now is the hustle theory, the hustle. Well, if your numbers are bad, the more gas you give to it, it just means you're going to get to the funeral faster. If your numbers are good and you're making money, that hustle will give you the hockey sticks and you'll make money. So when you look at the margin, this tells you, hey, you come out at 2.9, 2.8, you're in a good spot. You're where you need to be. 3 to 4, you're good. 4 to 9, you're dominating. If you're over 5, you're the unicorn. And it literally breaks down here, showing what your typical range should be, and away you go. So people have access to these tools.
RTDs we work with right now, they're going to have this. So is this free or do I need to pay for it? What's
It's
it
free.
called? I mean,
It's free.
it's free. You're giving this away for free.
We are. Yeah, there's one here.
No, hold on
for
a
the
second. You're
cog-
giving it. Okay, wow.
Yeah. Eventually, if it gets popular, yeah, we might make it a subscription-based monthly thing, a nice little just to kind of cover our cogs. But you can do the cogs builder in here. We've got, SKU kill matrix. People are running the long tail and they're selling a product that is not making money. It's the velocities have dropped. This here walks you through it and gives you the whole number at the end, whether you think that product should be selling or not. So we've got all the different products.
Listening to this right now, and how do they find this? Where do they go?
TheForgeCPG.com.
Okay, we'll put that in the chat somewhere. I don't know if Caress, you can do it, or Adam, but I'd love to have that show up in the chat so people can see it.
Yeah.
It is gaining traction. It's probably been here for about a month and a half. We're watching the volume pick up. People are using it. Somebody was on it the other day for 4 hours, and I'm like, oh, where they just had it open in the background, and then it showed that they went through like all the different calculations and figured it all out. So that's what we're doing. The other side of this is we know, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna just switch another page here.
I'll become the fanboy all of a sudden, by the way.
So the other thing that we know that we're seeing is we're working with like 17 different brands through the Forge is a consultant group. We've got marketing with Charity Golter with the Rebelry. We've got Dan Wales, who's really reinventing how recruitment is done. We've got Patrick Woods, who's a project manager. We've got Ben O'Donnell, who's lean manufacturing Six Sigma. We've got a great team of people, but we've also put together the compliance suite because we've realized that brands have no quality and they don't think quality is important. The problem with quality is they think it's an add-on later. They don't know that labels are actually regulated. They don't know how health claims are regulated. Prop 65. There's bounty hunters out there looking for Prop 65 every day to hit you with a lawsuit. So we've come up with the compliance suite, and we literally go through, and in 6 weeks, we give you a package. Now this does cost. This one's not free. but we realize that there is a huge need, especially in Canada, recalls. You have to run a mock recall once a year by law as soon as you sell a product, and people aren't doing it. They just don't even know how to do it. So that's the other thing that we are really pushing with the Forge. So we have some free stuff. We've got some paid stuff. We've got some great consultants with the team.
This
We're
is
here to
an
help brands.
amazing value that you bring. I wanted to go back to some people that showed up. I don't know, Adam, if you want to grab I can grab a couple, but a lot of people have joined us this morning. So you're obviously really popular, by the way.
Sorry, is that
so-
on? Is that here in the chat or is that on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you can see everybody. So I don't know if you want to take a couple of them.
Yeah, I got you. Let me get back to this here. Refresh my page. Trying to share links and fucking. All right, we got. I'll start with Robert. He said the friendly Canadian approach. I'm assuming he means to the free tools, which is great. Let's see. Gary.
No tariffs from Canada on this one, folks. It's free.
Oh, that's awesome. Gary, and apologies, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but thanks for being with us this morning. He said, you're not serving founders brands well if you just say yes, if you just yes them to death. I take pride in being the devil's advocate and making my clients question their assumptions. I did that exact thing yesterday when it came to parcel shipping costs, and couldn't agree more, Gary.
Yeah, Gary. So Gary, get this tool. Adam put it in the thing. So when you're talking to your clients, just say, hey, let's do some quick math. Let's see where you sit between a scale of 1 to 5, and then we can have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way to do it, because then people know that it's raw, it's there. You can't hide behind this. You know,
So
you just can't hide.
I assume I know the answer to this based on our conversations, but I'm gonna tee you up for it. So, you know, somebody comes in, they use all your tools, beautiful as they are, and they're like, hey, that's great. Now I know that I'm hemorrhaging money in a very real way. The fuck do I do now, right? So what does that look like, right? If somebody wanted to work with you guys or your team, big, small, middle, not sure, what does that look like?
Yeah, so that's where the next step of that comes in. We do have, like I said, right now we've got 10 consultants that are in the Forge. We've got fractional CFOs, CPAs, quality, ops guys, finance guys, and we have packages that you can bring us in, and we work. You know, we identify what your key is. Do you want us to work on commands? Do you want us to work on suppliers? You know, the golden rule of suppliers: 2 is 1, 1 is none. And most people you talk to, they only have one supplier, right? You know, a sad event that happened last year. There was an explosion in Kentucky, and a facility blew up, and 2 people lost their lives. That's absolutely terrible. But it was one of the largest producers of caramel flavor in the United States.
Oh, I remember that.
And
Yeah.
everybody thought they had 2 different suppliers for their caramel, but they were just resellers coming
Got it.
from that facility.
Yep.
So a product that was being delivered in 6 weeks was now like 4 months out. So everybody was scrambling to try to find it. So if you only have one supplier and something goes wrong,
Right.
so we have the different consultants that you can work with specific to what the problem is to help you get to where you need to be.
And so, I don't want it to get lost on this discussion. There's a shitload of other useful information in the book. I mean, it talks about everything from, you know, a little bit. I know there's another book coming out, so there's a little bit of like how to start a pitch conversation. There's a little bit of just company culture. I mean, there's a lot of really good nuggets. So I'm curious, kind of thinking about all of the things that you discuss, not just margins, but you know, whether it's quality or anything else. When somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, we've used the tools. We know that things need work," I'm sure there's several answers, but if you had to say, or maybe if there's a clear front runner, what's the thing you most often, if people are like, I don't know which problem to solve first, where do you recommend they start? Or is there a clear, hey, begin here and then work forward from there in terms of making things work better for you?
The 2 things that I think people have to realize to get to the solution, and Megan at Gingerbug did a post on this. She realized what she wasn't doing well, and she fired herself.
Okay.
That's her post.
That's the hardest thing to
She's
do
like-
for a founder,
she's
right?
like,
To actually
I don't
step
know
back and say,
operations.
I'm not capable of doing this. I need to hire the experts to come in and do it.
100%. It's one of the best posts I've seen on LinkedIn, and the traffic has been insane. She realized that, hey, I don't know ops, I don't know commands, I don't know suppliers. She's like, I fired myself and I hired Steve. And she fired herself from marketing and hired someone to do Instagram and all that stuff for her because she didn't know how to do it. She wasn't,
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is cash. We've all heard it, cash is king. But the number one thing you always have to tackle is the cash flow.
Sure.
Because everybody
Cash
thinks,
burn
hey,
is real, right? I mean,
cash burn is real. If you don't sell a product for the next 4 months, does your company still survive? And if that answer is no, let's fix it.
Right.
Let's fix it.
Yeah, that's a great
That's-
point. We have a partner out west, and he was talking to one of our clients, and he was, I actually have to I go back and think about this conversation he had with the client, because she was so concerned we didn't get the cases up on the board the first month being on board with her, and he's like, he goes, such and such, I'm trying to rename nameless, and Alicia will appreciate this, but he said, you know what, this is probably not the right stop for you. If you can't afford our $2,500 a month for a fractional sales rep in the market and don't have enough to actually build a brand over the next couple of years, you shouldn't be doing this. You should get out. He actually told her point blank, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's telling her that, but it was the truth.
People rush. Costco is always key. Costco loves bringing in new brands and bringing in pallets, right?
Yeah.
I love Costco. I am really good at my job. I will, when we, with Cove
Yeah.
Soda, which was I was with last year, they launched in both Canada and the US and Costco. We delivered 100% on time and in full. Okay? Which does not happen very often. And it was like literally 2.5 months from the time we got the order to the day it had to be delivered. The problem, everybody rushes into Costco and they don't have the right velocities, they don't have the right market. And they're like, okay, let's get into Costco. Costco's come to us. Okay, now we've got to do 40, 60, 80 pallets of a product that nobody knows about. All your cash has been eaten up. You don't know what the sales are going to be. You don't know what the chargebacks are going to be. And at the end of it, you're eating a major cost because it did not sell out.
Yeah, I had a
4
brand,
weeks.
Adam, you know who they are, out of Minnesota. I'll just say it, Hairless Dog, and they were in 38 states with Total Wine and More, and 35 states with Bevmo. And every time Total Wine and More and Bevmo would come order, they'd like, well, it'll be ready in 4 weeks, it'll be ready in 6 weeks. Guess what happened?
Yeah. Yep.
They stopped ordering. They didn't have the money to actually make the product that the customer wanted, so they grew too fast.
Yeah, yeah. You've got to be prepared for that. Absolutely. People don't. You've got to do. There's a calculator on there that shows your cash rate, your cash burn. What are you spending, and how long can you last? And you got to look at that runway because it matters. It really is the second biggest thing that kills people. If you're not making money, you're in trouble. If you don't have the money, you're in more trouble.
Yeah. Quick shout out and a couple comments from Gary. He said, my first client who needed a deck strategy audit wound up deciding not to launch their RTD. I can't relate exactly to that, but shout out to, if he's listening, Steve Camlin, my buddy, formerly out of Utah and now in Vermont, called me, let's call it 4 years ago now, when he had his own craft soda brand that he was doing out of a commercial kitchen, and called me at the lab, wanted to scale it, and we talked for a little bit. It's like, hey man, to that exact point, it's like, unless you have more money, like investor money, rich uncle, whatever you want to call it, something in savings, like this is going to be really painful to the tune of like bankrupting you. And about 6 months later, hadn't heard from him. Wasn't really friends with him at the time, was just a guy I knew. And he called me and he goes, hey, I appreciate your honesty. I just want to let you know I'm shutting the business down, but I'd love to stay in touch. Okay. I don't know if I feel
There's
that,
a
but
high. This was it. Margins or death, right? At the end of the day, there's a high failure rate in our business, unfortunately, right? But if you take the tools, Steve, that you've provided, you use them, you can probably get into that 10% of the people that actually can survive. But you got to pay attention and listen. Or like your friend, she fired herself because she knew she wasn't capable to do what someone else could do. She hired you, which is brilliant. Gary comes in and says, I felt terrible. This is from his post. He said, but they were grateful for the insight and not going down a path that would have been an expensive disaster. Phew. I don't know if you wanna take,
That should happen more often. It really should happen.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
learning. Like I'm learning. I talk when people arrive at our desk. I do the whole tortoise and the hare thing now, Steve. And you know what the tortoise and the hare story is?
Sure.
I mean, I'm like, if you're looking for the hair, I'm not the right stop. I said, and I always ask, what do you think the average time it takes to build a brand in the spirits business? What do you think it is?
I'd probably say 15 years.
Steve?
To build a good brand, I'm gonna say you can probably do it in 5.
It's 12 years is the average. 12 years. Now, there's people that punch through, right? So the people see the less than 1% or 0.002 that punch through and they're thinking, I'm going to 10x it
Right.
and sell it in 2 years. It's 12 years. And everything going on with the category right now with all the consumer shifts and the dynamics is even more dynamic. So anyway, I digressed.
I got
Back to margins and death, because we
No.
don't want to have death. We want to get margins, right? So that's the goal, is
Exactly.
to eliminate the death.
So we
Exactly,
gotta
100%.
jump in. We got a comment here from Robert who said, "Same thing as a real estate agent. Same thing a real estate agent has to do. How much money do you have?" He said, "Steve, what's the percentage of your intros that you have to give the bad news about the bleed out?" That's a good question.
I
Yeah.
have not. So the last year and a half, I have talked to 17 brands myself, where I've gotten into the numbers, and not one has been where it needed to be.
I'm not
That's incredible.
I'm not
Like
surprised.
those stats are probably not surprising to me, because everybody I talk to, and I'm going to get into your sheets, totally going to geek out, and then you and I are going to. Hopefully, you'll take my meeting, but anyway, my point is, I have like these simple spreadsheets, and we do Pro software, we do some other things. I'll connect with those guys too. But most people I talk to don't know their cost of goods.
None.
Mhm.
None.
Mhm.
They haven't got a clue. They don't know. They don't know about chargebacks. They don't know about promo spend. They don't know about shipping, warehousing, pick and pack. They haven't got a clue.
And chargebacks, I'm like, there's above the line, there's below the line. And we talk about like a pro forma, and you had to look at an income statement. Like they're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yep.
just they don't know. And like I said earlier, they look at the recipe, they look at the can, they look at the co-man fee, and they're like, oh, it's $1.12. Great, I'll sell it for $1.65.
That's interesting. I have a client that says his cost of goods is 80 cents. I'm going to definitely take your stuff and we're going to dump it into that thing. We're going to actually see what his true cost of goods are.
Yeah, and that's what it's for. That's what it's for. And honestly, that's why it's free, because I know there's a lot of companies out there that really don't know where they're at. You know.
So from and Robert Kogan commented, I surprised this has never come up before. It's hilarious. I will only refer to him as this from now. He said, "Cogs is my nickname for real." For
It
Mr.
is.
Kogan.
Is it really?
Yeah, Cogs.
I don't believe it.
Robert Coggins, right? So it's his last name is COG. So I guess in baseball, that's everybody knows him as Cogs.
That's funny. So Steve, when you because it's something we talked about with a few guests now, like, or I the food ops folks, the food consulting group here in the city, as I mentioned, we were talking the other day. I was talking to them about this. So you got this book, or you're about to have this set of books, right? And I have to assume the goal, or in a perfect world, right? The perfect world scenario is to get this information in front of people before the numbers are screwy, right? So that they can make the plan good or better from the beginning, right?
Yes.
So where do are you reaching out to MBA programs or corporate offices, or like where do you find people to get them this info before they've gone down the rabbit hole?
Well, to tell you the truth, that's all the next step. We're new to this.
Sure.
Forge has been around now maybe about 7 months. We're building it, right, and we're bringing in the consultants. The book's only been out probably for 3 months, maybe. We're still, trying to get the other 2 books completed. The third one I want to get done before the end of the year. Doing and being full time with Gingerpug, there's literally 104 things. My walls are all whiteboards in here.
Sure.
This is the nice little spot that I have designed for video calls, but the rest of it is whiteboards and chicken scratch.
Sure.
So there's task list and what are we trying to do and how we're getting there.
Sure.
So it's this is number 2 podcast that I'm doing. I've got another one coming up this week. I've got another one next week. We're just starting to launch it out there.
Cool.
It wasn't ready, and I don't even know right now if it's fully ready. When we look at the calculators and the tools, there's 10 or 12 there. I think I have like 30 that I have ready to be designed.
Okay.
And create it on there. But yeah, that's how it would work the best, is to get it out to different places that we can go there. But we're just building the foundation and making sure we're doing it right, because I got to do it right. When I'm telling everybody to do it right, I better do it right myself, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. We're just rolling out. It's taken some key people. We've added some amazing people to the team, and it literally started like by one of my suppliers from my previous role. He reached out and said, "Hey Steve, and just vetted 26 different beverage co-mans in the United States. Why don't you broker my product to them all?" I'm like, "Great idea. What does that mean?" Because I'm an ops model, I don't know what brokering your product means, right? And that's how it started. Like, we've worked with some amazing co-mans in the United States for beverage that are just ready. That people say, "Hey Steve, who do you recommend?"
Sure.
We worked with a company here about a month ago, and they wanted to know an organic aseptic co-man. And for them to go find it and do all the research probably would take them a month or two, do all the meetings and all the setups, probably take another couple months, so probably 4 to 6 months to vet the co-man. I know one,
Sure.
They're amazing.
Right.
Here's their name. So we're just rolling it out.
Nice. So I gotta jump in real quick, and I do have more I want to ask about that. But Greg Needham, thanks for joining us this morning. He had a question that I want to get your thoughts on. He said, established brands in foreign markets looking to break into the U.S. have a different formula to equate for brand launch and build velocity in untapped and unknown. And I did it. That's the question. Is like, how does the math? Does anything differ? I guess maybe, and Greg, if I'm understanding the question right, like, would the calculator look different, or I guess do the inputs for the markets look different in like Europe or Canada versus the U.S., or is it all fairly, as far as free fills and slotting and all the costs input in that formula is about the same?
But that is, rule of thumb, the same.
Okay.
The difference that I found, and through my LinkedIn, you'll see that I spent the last year with Cove Soda.
Sure.
Cove Soda went from 700 stores in Canada to probably 7,000 stores in the United States in about a 6-month period. They got into Target, they got Costco, Albertsons, Erewhon, HEB, Sprouts, Whole Foods. Okay, they launched all in the spring. Did an amazing job of getting into the States. The biggest factor that affected what we had to do was the shipping lanes. Making it in Canada, shipping across the border, and distributing across the United States is not profitable. We did partner up with a co-man central in the United States that took over production and helped get through the United States.
Sure.
That, honestly, that shipping, making in Canada and shipping to the States is a big cost.
Sure.
That's my biggest factor. If you're Canadian and looking to get in American, I know right now that's probably not the big win with all the tariffs going on. There are probably people going to want to X me out right now, but the cost to ship it from Ontario to California,
Sure.
you better be shipping
Yeah,
full truckloads
facing
into a
a lot of
warehouse.
We're facing with a lot of our spirit brands. We have one that's coming from India, right? And we were going to position the brands as, very like more of a lower cost, but now we're going to go for premium because we got to cover the tariff. There's a 50% tariff on India,
Yeah.
or we're just not going to bring the item in, at the end of the day. And this company's put a lot of time and effort. We think we can go for like an ultra premium positioning on it, but yeah, it's you had to kind of change your strategy. And I know Greg's working on a brand that we're partnering with to bring it out of, I think it was Italy, Greg, remind me, the Italians. But I think at the end of the day, to answer his question, I think, are they willing to play the long game? Or they think they're just going to show up and we're going to get them distribution and customers? We may have some early wins, and that's the thing I see all brands, they get early wins, right? Well, we just got into Sprouts. We're in an innovation program. Okay. What happens after the innovation program's over?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks getting on shelf is the win.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on shelf is not the win. Getting the reorder 2, 3, 4, 5 times after that, that's
Right.
the win. That's what it matters. If your velocity is 4 or 5 cans per unit per store per week, they're not keeping you. You need to make sure your velocities are 13, 14, 15 units per store per week. Then they're going to keep you. If they don't, they're just quietly, and there's where Surrounded by Beautiful Ideas quietly dying. hey, here's the load in, great, but you didn't hit any velocities, and we had to sell back, or ship back or destroy 30% of your load, and then we're not going to reorder. There's the quiet death.
Yep.
It's
So-
staying on shelf, hitting the velocities, and growing, keeping your
So-
velocities up.
I want to come back a little bit to to that point you guys just made. I always think about that like when you can use dieting as an example. You can use like a fitness boot camp. You can use a financial, like, oh, I'm budgeting. Like we use budgeting. So okay, you're somebody who you've got a big trip coming up and you're budgeting for it. You're saving money, and then you go on the trip. Awesome, right? You get on the shelf. Awesome. A year later, did you continue budgeting and now you're in a better position financially in general, or you broke again, right? It's the same general principle. Before we lose it, on my feed here over on LinkedIn, so Cogs said the CHFA show is in 2 weeks. And I want to tie this into a question I want to not forget on, like, for example, promoting your book, whether it's for you or for brands in general. What's your take on the value of trade shows to help grow business, relationships? Obviously, depending on the show, they might come at a higher cost, but I guess what's your perspective there?
I think trade shows are a course that somebody needs to take. I
Okay.
believe that the right trade show and the right plan, everybody should partake in it. CHFA Now, which is the natural organic Whole Foods shows in Canada, there's one out west and there's one out in the east. I believe everybody should attend in one way or another, whether it's having a booth or being there. The contacts, the knowledge, the experience is definitely there. It depends on where you want to be and what you can afford.
Sure.
If you're not making money and you don't have your cash runway for 3-4 months ahead of you, then don't be running out to get a booth. But be there.
Sure.
Be there. Have something different. Have a digital card on your phone and meet people. Get the contacts. It matters. It really does matter.
Cool.
I think trade shows are an absolute win for everybody. It's just you've got to make sure your presence matches where you are in your growth.
I think that's a really good, that's a really good point, because the reason I asked the question, I loved your answer, is you see a lot of brands, not all, but a lot, who will, oh, I just got Sprouts, I'm going to go pay $40,000 for a booth and a body and multiple bodies and product and all, and the load in and, you want ice? That's an extra $200, right? Like, all the nickel and diming costs, which I'm not talking shit of the trade show folks, they've got to make their money for sure. But it does add up, right? And you'll see, I was lucky enough this year to have been to a couple already. I'm hoping to maybe go to one more, but you'll see these brands and you're like, hey, your booth's beautiful, but I'm talking to you and you're telling me you're in 2 states. You're in 1 state. You're in 2 retailers. You're doing you've been around for 2 years. Like, I know what you spent to be here with this presentation. That money could have gone somewhere a lot more useful, and you could have just bought a floor ticket.
But
Yeah,
by the way, that it drives me nuts. This week, and Alicia, if you're there, when I'm about to say you'll hear, we had a client say, we only pay on commission. So they come to the most important part of the equation, the people that drive revenue, and they tell us we pay commission, but yet they just spent $50,000 on a booth at some trade show. And we had to tell that particular client, nope, we're retained based. People have to put food on their table, and we're your most important stop.
Yep.
The people that actually sell your product.
Yep.
But I can
Yep.
tell you, we get that all the time.
Yep. I think the biggest thing with a trade show is you should do your research beforehand. You should have objectives, targets, tasks that you want to accomplish. Meet with Robert Kogan. Have that scheduled. It's a great spot that everybody's there. And I want to meet with Robert. I want to meet UNFI. I want to meet. I want to see this booth. I want to meet these people. Set up meetings. Set up discussions.
Yeah.
Go there with a set of specific goals. Just don't go randomly through a trade show and walk the booths. Not gonna. That's not a win.
Yeah.
It's not a win.
Well, especially now when and this is, I mean, told you I've been to 2 this year. That's 2 more than I've been to any year in the last 4, right? For reasons I won't bore anybody with. But one of the things I found out that I didn't know, and I think to your point, it's something a lot of people either don't take advantage of because it's overwhelming, or don't take advantage of because maybe they think they don't need it, or they just, in my case, don't know that it was available. Was most of these shows now have a pretty robust app, so you can literally map out like, oh, I want to visit these 16 people, and it will draw you a line through the show of go here, go here, go here, go here, in the most effective way to walk that show. Right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Cog said, I'm trying to stay up on the comments. We've had a lot of interaction today, which is really cool. He said, we pretty much chase the margin. It all starts with a terrible cost model, then apply Steve's checklist and turn a 10% loss into a 25% win, fix the logistics, sourcing, etc. So the question for me that comes out of that is, again, on average, from where folks maybe start, either when they're working with you or maybe you only hear about it, anecdotally, but from where they start the first time they run the model to where they end up after they've gone, okay, we need to work on it. What's that swing usually look like?
I'm going to say most people are, like Robert just kind of hit the nail on the head. They're kind of like at that 10% loss, and they can get into that 2025 easily. A lot of it is, a lot of newer brands don't realize that it's worth getting 3 quotes. It really is worth getting 3 quotes. There is play in commands, there is play in suppliers, there is a lot of numbers in trays and cardboard. A lot of the brands we talk to don't know about stock floor agreements. They don't know about open POs. Hey, look, I'm going to do a run right now of 13,000 cans, but I will guarantee over the next 6 months I will buy 100,000 cans. What's my rate at 100,000 cans versus the 13,000? Lock me into 100,000 cans. I guarantee by December 31st I will buy all those, but I want them spread over 6 months. You're going to get a better price.
Yeah.
You're going to get a better price. And those are things that we can see. Those are quick wins.
Yeah. No, I think that's a... I'll leave it to folks who do a lot more procurement than I do, but that's something that, again, going back to cash flow, right? If you have confidence in that you either have it now or will have the money, and it's a stock floor agreement, I think of it as a take and pay, right? Or pay as you take. Right?
Yeah.
As long as you know that either A, you're going to make the money to cover that, or B, that you have the money now, and so, okay, that amortized cost, if you will, is useful, right? You're right. A lot of people don't think about that. I want to call out, so Greg said, I'm going to read this slow because I'm confusing myself. A brand like Midday Squares leverage their growth store by following founders and struggle/success on YouTube and socials, building community that garnered support, but can it work in the long run to be so transparent?
That's Jake at Midday Squares?
Yep, he said Jake being the face at all the shows, opening in the US and Sprouts, etc. So the question is...
Dancing Jake.
Yeah, so the question is, can it work in the long run to be so transparent? Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think transparency will ever hurt you. I really don't. I think looking at how some of the bigger brands out there right now are doing things and succeeding, transparency is key. Like I'm late to the game, but following Dude Wipes lately has been amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And something we really don't want always to be transparent about, but they are transparent, right?
Yeah.
I think that that transparency, that honesty, that openness is the new generation.
Totally.
I'm 52. I'm learning every day. Some of the brands I'm working with, one of them's 23 years old, and her account's teaching me stuff every week. That transparency is a great way. You're watching posts on LinkedIn that are getting 40, 50,000 impressions where they're like, I'm too stressed today. I can't even take this. I don't even know what I'm going to do. Here's the 42 things I got to decide how to do. So I think transparency right now is actually trendy. And I think it's very...
It shows that they're authentic too, right?
And that's the thing. People, no matter what, even with AI, even with everything out there, people still do business with people. And the more the
Yeah.
connection you make with the person, the more you always say, oh, I don't go back to that store. I don't go back to that restaurant because somebody pissed you off. Somebody treated you wrong.
Mhm.
Someone snubbed you. It's that person. That authenticity, that transparency is going to always matter.
Yeah. Let's see. We got more comments coming in. So Joey, who's been on the show before, good to see
Hey,
you,
Joe. Hey, I can't see
Hey.
LinkedIn, by the way, so thanks for. I'm laying my phone's down.
Oh, you're good. I got you. So Joey said customers love an authentic message, and Cogs again said, happening now, melting forest shipment in transit this weekend to be sleeved with Canadian compliant labels, CHFA booth, and into other booths. Steve doesn't know yet, but he will be helping us chase the margin. We are shipping from California to Toronto. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, Robert's gonna laugh at this, but I had a meeting with Robert this past week, and it was set to be a half-hour meeting, and 31 minutes in, I finally got to talk.
That is a true statement, by the way. Sorry, Robert. Call me. You know where to find me. I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call, but it's true. Yeah, Robert he's a talker.
I'm a note taker as I take meetings, and I took notes talking to Robert, and it was all scribble. It was such a fast meeting. Even my notes reflected the meeting we had. So
Well, that's like AI's for. You can just take a picture of that, by the way, Steve, and then AI will tell you exactly what you wrote. I've done that.
yeah, I think AI looked at it and went, "What the?" So
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I know we're coming up on time, and I have steamrolled the conversation, but as Sam called out when we started, big fan and very appreciative that Steve and I got to meet recently and develop a relationship. So Sam, I'll leave it to you to ask the question we always ask at the end here.
Oh, yeah. So we ask everybody that comes on the show, Steve, this question. It's really deep, by the way, just to prepare you. But what's the difference between success and failure?
good question. I know a few people will know this. 7 years ago, my wife was really sick. She spent 2 years being very ill, was diagnosed with an acoustic neuroma vestibular schwannoma, which was an egg-sized tumor in her head. She's got a brain tumor. She had surgery 5 years ago, beginning of COVID, which shut down physical therapy. She had a stroke, lost all control of her left side. She's deaf in her left ear. She couldn't stand. She couldn't walk. She couldn't use her hands. She went through physical therapy with her and I, and had full recovery. About 6 months ago, her tumor started growing again. She went through radiation. Success and failure for me is being able to build something successful that is a foundation of our life, but it still allows me to live a life with my wife that is not just work-life balance. I honestly hate work-life balance because it's not something two different parts. It's all one. And success to me is be able to help brands build a company and support the lifestyle that the two of us want to live going forward.
Man, well, thanks for sharing such a personal story. First, best to your wife. How's she doing? Do you mind sharing?
She's doing well. Yeah, she's doing well. Yeah, my wife was born in Tampa, so she's American. She's dual citizen, Canadian American, and then she lived in Montreal for 13 years. So she knows how to scrap, and she's good. She's living a full, good quality of life. She gets a little tired right now because radiation was only 4 months ago, so it takes like 4 to 6 months to clear up.
Yeah.
But she's solid. She's good, and she's my why.
Man, it just says it all, because when you're sick or you lose a loved one, it puts things in perspective, and finding your time we're all blessed just to be here, right? Someone asked me the other day, how you doing? I said, I'm above dirt. And he asked me again, what'd you say? I said, I'm above dirt. I'm alive. I'm living my life, and I get to work with whom I want, when I want, where I want, when I want, and I love that you shared that, because I think so many of us miss it. We work, we forget what's the most important thing is our families, our wives, And just thanks for sharing. That is really powerful in terms of that. So as we kind of start to wrap up, I'd like to kind of give you the opportunity to share some things that maybe we didn't get into today, Steve, in terms of A, how do people find you, B, why is, the book Margin and Dust so important, and anything else that you want to share that we've maybe missed this morning, but, we definitely want to be able to share that with our audience so they can find you. And then Adam, you can have your closing thoughts, and I'll come in. I'll ask all of us to remain on the line because we got to make sure that the video actually comes up through the cloud and shows up.
Okay. I am mostly on LinkedIn. I do have an Instagram account, but I think it's got 3 posts. I live on LinkedIn. I'm a frequent poster. I do have a newsletter called the Foundry Files that I started 2 weeks ago. For little behind the scenes notes. I did the gasoline effect, what that was all about. I'm releasing one this week about the hiring and respecting the interview process, because I think a lot of people fail that drastically. And the website, theforgecpg.com, we're going to do a harder rollout that in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, LinkedIn, and I'm normally pretty quick to respond to people on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Don't send me a hard sell. Don't sell me. Try not right now to sell me AI solutions. I get enough of those. But LinkedIn, I'm pretty active there. The book is important. It does cover a lot of startup stuff, but it does cover. I've had some people who've been in business for a long time read it and went, "Wow, I never even thought of it that way. I didn't look at that." So, and I know we're a society that we reward and celebrate the jump. I've heard so many times, you're in a plane taking off while you're building the plane.
Yeah, I say that all the time. We talk about that.
And you're good with that. I'm good with that. And I'm literally writing my next newsletter about how Da Vinci was an opportunist. He sold drawings of military weapons that he hadn't even built yet. He just sold the drawings, right? Opportunists, you got to take off with the plane, no doubt about it. But make sure your numbers add up as you do it. Mm-hmm. That's we all said it. We all were in high school, and we were taking algebra and math, and we went, when in the hell am I ever going to use this shit? Right here, right now. Your business depends on it.
Okay.
Bottom line.
Do the math, and you've made it so incredibly easy. Just actually go to Forge, FORGECPG.com.
Yes, sir.
So easy to find. It's crazy. So.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave you with my closing thoughts, and then Sam will let you wrap up. So, again, Steve, thank you for making time. I really enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you the last few weeks. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna remember the quote exactly or who said it, but something to the tune of, the best leaders, the most successful people, whatever qualifier you want to use, are those who are willing to kick over the rocks and take a very detailed look at things. Now, that thing could be yourself and your attitude, it could be your finances, it could be your health, it could be whatever. But until you're willing to kind of look in the mirror and whatever that mirror is showcasing, right, problems are going to lurk. They may come up in a day, they may come up in a year, but they will lurk. And so I think that's the part I most enjoyed about you and your book and just your general approach to things is, it might be uncomfortable, but we got to do it, right? And just saying that in a very plain and direct way and being willing to share your time with us. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I'm going to actually put in, I was in the wrong place. Here, I'm going to put this in here, ForgeCPG.com.
There's a the in front of it, Steve, or Sam.
Oh, there's a duh?
The Forge.
The, THE.
Oh, the
Forge, CPG. Yep.
CPG.com. Okay. Do it again, and then I'm going to actually put that up on here. I'm going to show on the stream, which everybody can see. Is that it? TheForgeCPG.com. So that's how you find our friend Steve or Don Dodgeny, right? Did I get it right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Steve Dodgeny. So I'm impressed with myself today. I'm so excited to get it off. So thanks everybody for joining us today on Drink Up. You can find us on social media. I believe Caress. So we're gonna certainly be Drink Up at podcast.com. I believe coming soon, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. I think I got 2 followers, Steve. So I hear you, and again, you're welcome back anytime. We encourage you, just like Robert was here. Please join us every week. You can also, anybody that's actually been on the show actually has the link to actually join in, and we've had a few pop-ins. We always love that as well. But man, I would love to. How do people get a copy of your book, real quick?
Amazon right now. It's on Amazon. It's also on Barnes & Noble, Indigo. But Amazon's the quickest, easiest to get it.
Are they find you on LinkedIn? Can they order the book from LinkedIn as well?
There's a link that takes you right to. There's a link on the website, Forge CPG. There's a website. There's a page
Right.
there.
And then when you go to Forge
books.
CPG, because I'm asking for myself, sorry everybody, but
Yep.
actually I'm gonna start doing some gaming today with some clients. Actually, one client said, "Do you have time?" I said, "Well, yeah, I got time. We got to plug it in." And then do you just do RTDs, or can you do spirit items too? Can you do any item?
We can do whatever you want. Yes, sir. We can do. We're into right now. We're working on a company in Florida that's doing protein bars. We're doing whatever you want to do it in. You can put it in there.
So the gaming tool, I can choose a 750, a liter, pack size.
I'll find out. If not, I will make sure we can very soon.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then I would definitely would, like as Adam says. So I'm Adam today. Love to make some introductions to some of our suppliers, especially on this margin or depth. It's so critical that people really understand. That between the 1 and 5 is what resonated with me today. So it's just so incredible to actually have this knowledge. But thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Adam. Caress, as always. I'm sure you're going to pop in after we stop the show. But everybody get to your Saturday, and we'll see you next week.